I help people in their darkest hour. I try to show them a person that cares about them when their loved one dies. I care about you even after you're dead, you know. I care about the family members, everyone, and I make many friends this way. And I think I have an influence on the community, maybe not openly, but at least in their memories, you know, that way.
Death has to be viewed through a filter, like a camera has a filter, a lens, and that filter is what we do to make that loved one look beautiful again. I was excited to find out what is this scary thing that people are so afraid of, not to even speak about. I had to know what was beyond.
How did Dale get on your radar to do this movie?
Well, it kind of started with me meeting Dale at a Halloween party, which is kind of ironic because I think it's been 10 years since we've known each other.
Today.
So,
yeah, we were at a Halloween party.
Yeah, and I knew he was a unique figure right away. I mean, can't you tell already? And we struck off a friendship and ended up talking to Aaron about creating a film.
Yeah, that night I wasn't there, but Bobby went to the funeral home with Dale and watched an embalming on Halloween, and was deeply affected by it, and then was encouraged to make some artwork about his experience there. And then so we made a short film, and when we showed that to people, we knew we had something special. So we kept going. We'd go down to Galveston a couple times a year, spend time with Dale. We got a grant from the Austin Film Society along the way, which encouraged us to make this into a feature film. So that's been our goal since 2015, 2016 to turn this into a feature, and here we are with the world premiere.
What kind of artwork did you do that brought it on?
Well, I teach anatomy and figure drawing, and so when I explained that to him, he said, well, you should join me in my laboratory, and you can actually see this stuff for yourself. And so, yeah, that's when I went there, although I wasn't quite reckoning for the spirituality aspect involved and less medical, you know, it's kind of interesting.
I'm more of a mystic, you see. And Bobby was going to be my next student. I was going to recruit him to become a mortician, because I think he would be a great one because he's a good artist. Well, a great artist, I will say.
I took the film route instead.
You did. You didn't go by... But he rejected me. I was so hurt by it. Like that. I had so much promise right here. He would have been great with surgery. I know a lot of doctors that can paint and draw well and play the piano. Dr. Felix Wotes, the head medical investigator years ago in Fort Worth, was an excellent pianist. He is also in a concentration camp. He was put in one of those. He had the tattoos on his arm.
My goodness.
Yeah, I knew him. And that's another interview, though. But
Yes.
I have fascinating stories about that.
I've embalmed over 30,000 bodies in over 31 years. From 105 was the oldest person to a newborn.
If my brother Dale found a little dead mouse or a lizard, anything, he would try to take it apart. If he couldn't dissect it, he would want to pickle it. I mean, he sold tickets just to come in his room.
In the movie, it's brought out, you didn't have a very happy childhood.
No, I got picked on a lot as a kid.
Yeah, so you're a lonely kind of
I was
guy.
a loner, yes.
And yet you spend a lot of time alone now, and yet you're so gregarious. I mean, that there's a juxtaposition there that's isn't congruous. And how do you justify
I would say
that?
my whole life is a mystery, an enigma. I don't try to even understand why I think what I do. I just do. And I would say that a lot of people will say, oh, he's strange, he's weird, he's frightening. I said, yes, but I'm fun too. You'll have more fun with me than you will with all those other people, because I will be real and yet unreal at the same time, you know.
I think, you know, in Dale's profession, which is shown in the film, is a way for him to, you know, to regain some of that power that you might have lost as a child. You know,
Oh, yeah.
You're really good at what you do, and now you train other people in how to do it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I didn't have a lot of real friends as a boy, but I had books. And I had Shakespeare. I had Beethoven. I had Mozart. And how can you fail with that? I mean,
You can't.
you can't, you know. So one of my uncles was just a terrible influence on me, you know. I thought, well, hell, this dead person that wrote this book 300 years ago is so much more fun, you know, and had more to tell me, you know. So I really stayed alone because other kids were a source of pain to me, you know. They didn't understand me. I had thick Coke bottle glasses. I had a hearing aid at one time I hated, so the one that's in your ear. And I threw that out. I have a leg longer than the other, so I had that built up in my shoe. And I threw that out. So I learned how to get through all these things and it not be detectable.
How did you get past your feelings about death and of being around bodies? And did Dale help you with that?
Aaron, answer that.
Personally, I was able to kind of hide behind the camera and not have to fully process it in the moment. But it's really nice to know that there are people like Dale, and that there are people like Dale who are there to support families when they're in need. And so that was really encouraging. The graphic stuff was able to get past that eventually, but
I will say for me it's very difficult. I mean, at the end of the day of shooting in there, I'd feel emotionally and physically completely exhausted. And I think when you're not prepared, not necessarily that you're not prepared, it's just a heavy, very heavy situation. That's why we've always been curious, and that was part of the film, is like, how does somebody is able to take on this much of other people's suffering, and how to transmute that into something beautiful.
We come into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing except one precious thing: our memories of us and other people that live on.
Yes.
And the things we've done. That's why I like Michelangelo. How can that name ever be forgotten when you see those statues, or when you see the great works of art of Botticelli?
So we're very fortunate to have met Dale and to be able to tell this story.
and Dale's an artist in his own right. What he can do in the embalming room is truly can work miracles.
Well, I was going to say that. Has anybody from the movies ever asked you for your advice?
Well, I will tell you this. At a convention, I met Tom Savini, the special effects artist that did Dusk Till Dawn and movie after movie after movie, and we were supposed to get together and talk, because he was really exciting to talk to. And I'm friends with Clive Barker, who I did invite to this premiere, but he's so busy he may not come. I don't know. But he did Hellraiser and Candyman, and he's worked with me in the laboratory too. And he quoted me in one of his movies, Hellraiser 4. He used my words. Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
Yeah, So when I watched the movie, I heard my own words spoken through Pinhead, you know what I mean? The most notorious character in it,
Wow. That's a wonderful thing to be able to say, Pinhead spoke my words.
Words.
Yes.
It is.
Claim to fame.
Yeah.
Now, two things.
Yes.
One, what's the most unusual request you ever had from a family or from a deceased before they were deceased?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
So let's do that one first.
Okay. I had a request for a satanic service. The person that died was a Satanist, and but he came from I can't mention names, but he came from a very traditional Baptist family. I'm not going to even tell you where in Texas, but the son was a satanic. He was a Satanist, and they wanted us to have a satanic service in the chapel.
Wow.
Then the family had their Baptist traditional funeral, so we did both.
Any special request on the preparation of the body for a Satanist?
Well, no, they wanted to be in a black robe, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, the other unusual, I embalmed a female impersonator. And he wanted to be dressed in full drag in the casket. Now, I did it.
Wow.
And baby, I had those eyebrows just right.
What about your funeral? Have you made your plans?
Oh, I know what I want. I want 12 Italian old women to mourn, paid to be screaming their eyes out. From sunrise to sunset, I want wailing. I want all this old Italian, traditional funeral. I want embalmed Egyptian style, mummified,
Oh, you want to be mummified?
Yes, in 75 days in salt. Yes, I do.
Also, I don't know if you remember this, but we have this, in stone now, is that we can film your funeral.
Yes, I told them they can film my service.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
Will you be there?
Why not?
It's going to be tough for us for sure, because we kind of like you and we want to see you alive more than in the
Oh, don't worry. I think I could live to 110. That'll make you pretty old by then. My goal is 110.